Redistricting wars. Why are red and blue states trying to out-gerrymander each other? Well, the short answer is power. As for the longer answer, let's get into it on today's Explainer. I'm Bill Sammon of the Hill and News Nation, and I'm here to explain the redistricting wars. As I said, redistricting is all about power, but not so much in individual states like Texas and California, where these smaller battles are being fought out, but rather at the national level, where the larger war will be won or lost. Nationally, Republicans control the House of Representatives, but their margins are so small that it's difficult to enact President Trump's legislative agenda. Indeed, it will become almost impossible if Democrats win back control of the House in the 2026 midterms, which many political observers consider likely. To prevent that, Trump has asked Republicans in Texas to redraw congressional districts in the Lone Star State in such a way that will allow the GOP to net 5 additional House seats in next year's midterms. That could be enough to offset expected gains by the Democrats and thus allow Trump to continue enacting his agenda after all. Now, Texas Democrats tried to thwart this redistricting plan by fleeing the state so that the legislature would not have a quorum and therefore could not vote to redraw the maps. But they eventually relented and they returned to Texas, where Republicans have a majority and will likely be able to prevail on redistricting. In other words, Democrats in Austin ended up playing a game of Texas Fold'em. Meanwhile, Democrats in Sacramento picked up the fight, vowing to redraw California's congressional districts in such a way that will allow their party to net 5 additional House seats, thereby canceling out Republican gains in Texas. That effort is being led by California Governor Gavin Newsom, who considers this a potent political issue as he eyes a run for the White House in 2028. But you know, gerrymandering congressional districts is more difficult in California than it is in Texas. That's because California has a special commission that is supposed to draw the districts in a nonpartisan way. In fact, the commission's motto is, "We draw the lines." Well, actually, they won't be drawing the lines if Newsom gets his way. That's because the governor has called for a special referendum in November, hoping that Californians will vote to bypass the commission's authority so that Democrats can redraw the districts to their own advantage. Not wishing to be outdone, Texas Governor Greg Abbott says if California is going to add 5 Democratic House seats, then Texas will up the ante from 5 Republican seats to 10. So this back and forth has escalated into a larger redistricting arms race that now threatens to engulf other states, including Florida, Ohio, and Indiana on the Republican side, and New York and Illinois on the Democratic side. Generally speaking, Democrats face a much more difficult path because the states they control tend to have nonpartisan redistricting commissions like California's, or laws that prevent redistricting in the middle of a decade. Because normally, states do their redistricting at the end of each decade, after the Census Bureau finishes counting the population, so that the new maps can be adjusted in such a way that each district represents roughly the same number of people. But with the stakes so high when it comes to controlling the national agenda, some states are now contemplating mid-cycle redistricting, which is a fancy way of saying, let's redraw the maps in 2025 instead of in 2030. In the end, will the redistricting wars be able to tip the balance of power in Washington? We'll find out in November of 2026.